Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Box Office Receipts. For the weekend of July 19th, 2019, I am your host Tyler Callahan and we got our usual weekend top 5 international updates and what is coming out this weekend. First up is the weekend top 5. In first place is, shocker, The Lion King remake with $191 million. In second place is Spider-Man Far From Home with $21 million for a total of $319 million. In third place is Toy Story 4 with $15.5 million for a total of $376.4 million so far. In fourth place is Crawl with $6 million for a total of $23.9 million. Lastly, in fifth place once again is Yesterday with $5 million for a total of $57.5 million. Let's go over the numbers. First off, I was right. A perfect 5 out of 5 for my prediction. I expected Stuber to not hold well, and I was right with it coming in at 6th place with $4 million. Now for The Lion King, I expected around 155, 165, and it did quite a bit better, which I am not surprised. The original Lion King is one of the most popular Disney movies ever. Now for the reviews, people seem to be having a better opinion on it compared to the critics, much like Aladdin. This would mean it holds pretty well as well. Now let's move over to some of the international updates. The Lion King opened up internationally minus China, which it got the week before, to $351 million for a worldwide opening week, which is the best way to put it, of $564 million. So again, a strong opening for The Lion King, which was expected, and it is well on track to pass $1 billion, which was also expected. At this point, the question is, can it hit $1.4 billion? Maybe even $1.5? As of this time next week, Spider-Man Far From Home will pass $1 billion, as it is currently at $975 million worldwide. Toy Story 4 is still on track to pass $1 billion, with it at currently $863 million worldwide. This could mean, besides Dumbo, every movie Disney released this year made $1 billion or more worldwide. Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame have already done so, with Aladdin, The Lion King, and Toy Story 4 well on their way. Disney is having a much stronger year than last year, and you may be like, but they had Infinity War last year. And you'd be right, that's true, but they also had underperformers like Christopher Robin, Solo, and straight up flops like A Wrinkle in Time and The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. So while they had hit movies last year, they also had a lot of bad movies as well. It's just that Infinity War kind of covered that up. Yes, they also had a Black Panther as well, but when you have $4 billion movies in 1 year, plus Frozen 2 and Star Wars is coming out at the end of the year, that's $6 billion movies right there. So obviously a fantastic year for Disney. Moving over to non-Disney movies, Annabelle Comes Home is still holding its own, with it now at $196 million worldwide. However, it is still the lowest grossing of the Conjuring franchise so far. Lastly, before we move on to what's coming out this weekend, it finally happened. Avengers Endgame has passed Avatar to become the #1 movie worldwide of all time, with it now at $2.79 billion. So congrats to everyone at Marvel Studios and at Disney for making it the #1. It took 10 years for this record to be broken, so you have to wonder, what would beat Endgame? Right now, the early bids and the smart bids would be Avatar 2 if it broke out, or Avengers 5. But realistically, it could also be a movie we have not heard of yet. Remember, it took 10 years for this record to be broken. It could easily be another 10 to 15 years before it's broken again. So the only big movie coming out this weekend is Quentin Tarantino's new movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, the reviews for this have been fantastic, and it does have a star-studded cast. But do not expect this to be huge, as none of the movies so far of his have passed $200 million domestic. And barring it being a surprise hit, I don't expect this to do that either. Because of this, it is most likely going to have an opening of around $40 to $50 million range, so it would be a solid second place opening. My predictions for the weekend top 5 are: in first place, The Lion King, again. Second place, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Third place, Spider-Man Far From Home. Fourth place, Toy Story 4. And fifth place, Yesterday. Look, that may seem crazy, but Yesterday has been having great holds week in, week out. And I think that will keep happening. Also, for last weekend, it was only behind Crawl by about $1 million, so it's not too crazy. Like, if Crawl just completely collapsed, Yesterday would have had fourth place. So, I'm going to keep with that. Or do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm crazy? Please let me know on Instagram and on Twitter. Do you think Yesterday will still be in the top 5? And how big will Once Upon a Time in Hollywood be? Links to both are in the description of the podcast. Also, just a heads up, I will be doing a special episode this week going over the Phase 4 announcements for Marvel Studios last weekend and what the current competition for it is. Otherwise, that's it for this week's episode of Box Office Receipts. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.